these flops here and examine them a little bit more closely. Obviously, LeBron's flop is yet another performance that should go into the all-time list of embarrassing things that any grown man has done. And then Jokic got called for a flop, which for LeBron fans and the LeBron-minded people in the world makes everything LeBron's ever done okay. You know, whether Jokic flopped or not, I think you need to own your own actions. You don't base whether or not your behavior is okay or not, depending on whether or not someone else acts even worse or the same. You're supposedly the GOAT. Act like a goddamn grown-up. Flopping is for children. But since these two's flops were compared, even calling it exchanging flops, I thought it deserved taking a deeper look. All right, so Jokic and LeBron are together at the bottom of the key. Jokic goes up. LeBron comes at him. And then LeBron goes flying 5 feet. You can't make that call in the playoffs. My God. And look at LeBron. He is so far gone into his own world. He's sitting there making a dramatic face about what he just went through when he did it to himself. Okay, look at LeBron. He's got his hand, his palm flat against Jokic's shoulder, ready to shove off. Look at his head goes against Jokic's fingers, and he looks like he's been shot. Now he's been shot in the wrist. Look at his face. What a fucking idiot. Who makes a face like that? Even if you did get hit, oh, I've been shot. And now I would sue him and be like, you just tore a tendon in my foot. And he goes, well, you have to prove it if you want me to pay up. And like, well, you show us your torn tendon first, bitch. All right, slow this down. And if anything, that's a foul on LeBron. Grazes Jokic's hand. And here comes LeBron's left hand. And look at LeBron's right leg. He already is pushing toward the ball, using his left hand to get extra leverage. And now his other foot is in full shove-off mode. Now, what's more important is if we go back and look at Jokic. All right. Jokic has his right leg planted, and his upper body is actually moving to the left. It is LeBron who begins heading to the right. Jokic's arms are limp looking, except for the left one, which you can see was touching LeBron's chest. But you think that that forearm that was moving away from his body motion caused LeBron to do this? You realize that LeBron weighs as much as Jokic? Well, actually, in this case, someone is finally heavier than LeBron is. But, you know, that puts them as the top two heavy guys on the court, and the other guy goes flying like he's a fucking moth. Rich Paul says that LeBron is too scrutinized. You must be kidding me. He should be getting absolutely crucified for this daily, non-stop. No one should ever be allowed to behave this way once ever in their career, much less a person who's supposedly the GOAT. Here's a better angle of Jokic's body weight and body angle. His weight is on his left foot, which is leaning toward the baseline. How is Jokic going to be putting any of his weight into making someone his size go flying the other direction? And why is LeBron grabbing his wrist? What the fuck does his wrist have to do with anything? Stop yourself right now. You're supposed to be athletic. You do not need to go flying into the crowd, possibly injuring people, and at the minimum, spilling their drinks. I can't believe how nice these people were offering him a towel. So then the Lakers suffer through LeBron shooting up a couple of bricks. And there we go again. Wow. Gee, I wonder what the problem was. And then we have the so-called Jokic flop. Boom. That's LeBron lowering his ass into Jokic. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Jokic was leaning backward on one foot. Now, LeBron's 250, 260, depending on what you want to listen to. All right, I'm going to freeze frame it here because look at LeBron. He sees Jokic. He knows he's there. And he's like, okay, I'm going to have to lower the boom. This is a big guy, and I'm going to use my backwards moving momentum along with my weight, my gigantic fucking ass, and my linebacker legs, and I'm going to do what I always do, try to bowl people over. We all know if you're going to try and move a big object, you are going to have to get a lower center of gravity. So the next thing that LeBron does is dip his hips, get them at or under Jokic's level, and use his lower momentum to careen into his body. Look at the hip motion right here. Bam. And the elbow. Fucking ass, hip, elbow. Limited replay footage, but this is the soonest still frame I can grab from the other angle, and you see that Jokic is on 1 foot. He's on 1 foot. That's not a stable position for someone like LeBron James, 250, 260, to drop his hips and push backward into you. You know what? Jokic could be the strongest person on the planet. You get hit in that moment, you're going to kind of go sprawling awkward. And if that was a flop, man, that guy is a good actor because it looked genuinely awkward. I mean, I can see why someone might argue, oh, he sold it because it looks so awkward. I mean, he hit the ground hard. I'm not sure he was ready to get hit when he was on 1 foot when LeBron dropped his hips and backed his fucking weight into him. But if we reduce this to basic physics, the direction of the body weight, the direction of the momentum, it's pretty clear that both bodies are heading toward the baseline here. Compare that to this shot. How does LeBron go from that stance to flying out of bounds to the right? Nothing about what's happening here indicates that LeBron's body will go flying to the right. And the only thing that makes contact that heads that direction at all is the Joker's left forearm, which makes light contact while the Joker's body goes the other direction. It's just not enough to make LeBron go flying a different direction than where his body weight is currently situated. It's painfully obvious that LeBron is shoving off with both hands and both feet to go flying toward the referee on the sideline. Again, if I bring this back to the quote-unquote Jokic flop, we have 1/2 of one forearm on LeBron here, causing his gigantic body to go flying a different direction than it had been heading. Whereas with the Jokic flop, you have LeBron's entire body weight lowered and hitting Jokic right in his midsection to send him flying a direction that his body was already headed. That's way more believable. And what is with acting like you just got punched by Mike Tyson when you hit Jokic's limp hand with your face swinging forward as a part of your act? It's not even like Jokic hit him in the face. Part of his dramatic act was swinging his head around, which hit Joker's limp hand, not a fist, just a limp hand in the air. God damn it. Every time I watch this, I get more pissed off. It's just, look at LeBron's face. Look at his reaction because of a little impact with some fingers. And now compare it to Jokic's face getting a gigantic ass right in his lower abdomen or crotch. I mean, if you're going to make a face, it's getting hit in the fucking lower abdomen or crotch with LeBron's 250 pounds targeted into the projectile of his ass. But LeBron got fucking sniped from the stadium again. This is the problem with LeBron. Even if his leg broke, don't make that goddamn face, you bitch. And then LeBron used that to sell his story too. I mean, it's so gross that that's what makes it super, super disturbing, not just intolerable, but actually disturbing that he comes on TV and says that he's never been a flopper or part of a flopping team.
Seriously, I need to learn how to do that.
I mean, you actually legitimately wonder how far gone into his own world he is.
You lie so much you believe yourself. Arrogance and ignorance go hand in hand.
Which then makes you wonder how far gone his fans are. What's wrong with his wrist? Why is he reaching for his wrist? Did he hurt it shoving off of Jokic as a part of selling his flop? Hey, someone who is legitimately getting thrown to the ground puts their hands out in preparation for falling. They don't reach for a body part as a part of selling the act. My God, it's so gross. And what's really scary is that I could do this over and over and over and over again, analyzing LeBron. This isn't a one-time thing, but we go back to own your own behavior. You know, it doesn't excuse, even if Jokic did flop, it doesn't excuse that spectacle that we just had to see. And by the way, LeBron did commit an offensive foul. So if Jokic just sold something illegal that LeBron did to get it called, while I'm not a big fan of that, you don't compare that to LeBron James in the previous play actually being the perpetrator and via his acting get the refs to call the foul the opposite direction.